Hello, welcome to the presentation on the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization was formed on the 1st January 1995. It took over the responsibility from the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade Policy. In 8th round of the GATT, popularly known as Uruguay round, the member nations of the GATT decided to set up a new organization known as World Trade Organization in the place of GATT. It was a forum where the member countries met from time to time to discuss and resolve the world trade problems. It enjoys identical legal status, privileges, immunities that the World Bank and IMF get. The IMF and the World Bank emerged after the Bretton Woods Commission was set up after the World War II to help the newly emerging nations which have been confronting with the problems of development, environmental problems, social, economic problems, to establish industries and to give employment. All of these third world nations have been facing very similar problems. The World Trade Organization was born out of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. The headquarters are located at Geneva, Switzerland. It was formed on the 1st of January 1995. At present, it has the following members: 164 members and 24 observer governments. Liberia became the 63rd member on July 14, 2016, and Afghanistan became the 164th member on 29th July 2016. In addition to states, the European Union and each European Union country in its own right is a member of the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization versus the GATT. Let us see the differences, if at all any exist. It was an ad hoc and provisional institution which was set up. It was not for a permanent basis. It was for a timely basis to resolve the issues which were confronting at that particular time. Whereas the World Trade Organization is a permanent institution to resolve the universal trade problems. The GATT, on the other hand, it had no provision for creating an organization, but the World Trade Organization has legal basis because the member nations have verified the World Trade Organization agreements. It allowed the contradictions in local law and GATT agreements. The World Trade Organization, on the other hand, has more authority than the GATT. It does not allow any contradictions in local law. The local law has to abide by the convictions or the statements which are given by the World Trade Organization. What are the objectives of the World Trade Organization? Why this platform of World Trade Organization is established at the world-class level? Let us see the prime objectives of the World Trade Organization. The prime aim of the World Trade Organization is to implement the new World Trade Agreement to promote the multilateral trade. When we say multilateral, it is a multidimensional. Every nation which is coming out of its imperialistic subjugation and oppression has a chance to trade and promote trade in its own country. It can sell its products in other countries. To promote free trade by abolishing the tariff and non-tariff barriers, there will not be any barrier or hurdle on the entry and exit of the firms to enhance the competitiveness among all trading partners so as to benefit the consumers. The consumer is a king in economics. He has a wide range of choice, and so here he is getting a platform to buy the world-class products. To increase the level of production and productivity with a view to increase the level of employment at the world level. The human resource is the best resource, and it can have a greater demand with skill and technology to expand and utilize the world resources in the most optimum manner without wastages, to improve the level of living for the global population and speed up economic development of the member nations, to take special initiative and steps for the development of the poorest nations which have been confronting with the developmental issues. India is one of the founding members of the World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization is an international trade organization having set up rules and principles which every nation has to abide. Mutually, all these member nations have designed and agreed upon to promote the international trade in general and reduce the tariff barriers and remove the import restrictions in particular. The rich nations cannot impose trade barriers and not allow the poor nations to sell their products. Every nation must have an access to reach into the international platform and sell their products at the world class. The functions of the World Trade Organization are implementing the World Trade Organization agreements and administering the international trade, cooperating with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank and its associates for establishing, coordinating in global trade making, setting up and settling trade-related disputes among the member nations with the help of dispute settlement platform, reviewing a trade-related economic policies of the member countries with the help of its trade policy review body, providing technical assistance and guidance to related to the management of the foreign trade and fiscal policy of its member nations, monetary policy of its member nation, providing them assistance, giving them a chance to emerge as a growing nation, competing with the global world nations and enhancing their quality of production by giving assistance to them and continuously monitoring their progress. The argument in favor of World Trade Organization, why it has to exist is, it is increasing the foreign trade, it is increasing the agricultural exports, it is increasing the inflow of foreign investment. Those countries which lack the capital investment, they are inviting the foreign capital to come and invest in the newly emerging countries. It has to improve the services, the technology, human skill, and other designing of the products have to increase. Benefits of clothing and textile industry. All countries are not rich in raw materials. So those countries which are rich in the raw materials, for them benefits have to be provided. Inflow of better technology and better quality products have to move. This is a multilateral trade dimensional system, and it focuses on the use of a wide range of use of quality seeds and to enhance better varieties of plants so that the agricultural productivity increases. If we go back to the inception of GATT, it all began with the trade in goods from 1947 to 1994. GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade Policy, was a forum or platform for negotiating and bargaining lower custom duties, rates, and other trade barriers. The text of the General Agreement spelled out important rules, particularly non-discrimination, not discriminating the developing nations the third world nations and the rich and the powerful nations which emerged after the World War II. Since 1995, the updated General Agreement on Tariff and Trade Policy has become the World Trade Organization's umbrella agreement for trade in goods. It annexes dealing with specific sectors such as agriculture, textiles, and with specific issues such as state trading, product standards, subsidies which the government is assisting, and the actions taken against dumping the waste material which is dumped on the developing nations. So the dispute settlement system is a better platform which judges the entire issues which have come out, and it resolves on a better platform on settling the disputes amicably, peacefully, and giving a scope for the developing countries to come out of their crisis. Conclusion: we would like to conclude by saying that India, though emerging as a developing nation today, in spite of confronting with social, economic, and political problems, today it has been benefiting being a founding member of the World Trade Organization. The country as large has seen many significant changes which have taken place after the formation of the World Trade Organization. Still, there are some issues which are yet to be sorted out with the World Trade Organization, but by the large things are falling in shape for the Indian economy. Today, India is a global economy. It gives the best of the human resource to the world. Every year, thousands of intellectual people go from India to abroad. The brain drain which is taking place, which is happening with the excellent educational system set up in India. So we can foresee that in the coming years, India will not only be a supplier of very good raw material country, but will also emerge as an industrially developing nation and a prosperous nation. I hope the World Trade Organization concept is clear. Thank you.